Good morning. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, glad to have you. My name is Larry. What are the biggest stresses in retirement? What are the biggest stresses? I have to admit, I rarely get stressed out over anything anymore. I just don't. I think the last time I got stressed out over anything was a couple days ago. We have gas logs in our fireplace, and I only light them once a year because it stays off most of the time. And you have to jump through all these hoops and press this button and turn that knob and hit that button. I only do it once a year. I got the instructions right in front of me, but it stressed me out a little bit over a couple of hours time, I guess. But I finally got lit. But I kept my cool. I stayed calm. My wife would attest to that. I stayed calm, and but I rarely get stressed out anymore. I just don't. I'm sure a lot of you are the same way. But the number one stress most retirees face is, will I have enough money? Will I have enough money? Well, nobody knows. Nobody knows if you'll have enough money. Who knows how long we're going to live? It used to be you could retire and live 4 or 5 years, but now some people are living much longer, and it's going to take a lot more money to survive that. And everybody's situation is different. I've got a few hard assets, and I've got a little bit of cash in the bank, but nothing to write home about. And but everybody's situation is different. We have inflation. Nobody knows where that's going. We've all lived through bouts of inflation. This one's pretty bad, and it looks like it's going to be sticking around for some time. If you're in the stock market, which I am not, thankfully, I'm not in the stock market, but if you're in the stock market, yeah, I'm sure you check your stocks every day, up and down, up and down, up and down. It all depends on what's going on that day. Big thing that concerned me that I used to stress out about was loss of income. Now, for those who don't know, I was a contractor for 35 years, painting and drywall, and I had jobs all the time. I made pretty good money. I have to admit, I made pretty good money over my life for a working schmuck. But anyway, that loss of income, I phased out due to health reasons. I kind of phased out over the last few years. My last job was this past April, and it was difficult walking away and knowing I'm not ever going to make any money from that again. That loss of steady income, that income is a little bit addictive for all of us. And then what also bothered me was, as far as income was, we have these expenses that pop up. The our hot water heater went out. We had some dental work done. I had a major repair done on my van. You know, you get tires, just miscellaneous bills, things that you weren't prepared for. Now, we all know what bills we have on a monthly basis, and those aren't that big a deal because we can generally handle them. It's the unexpected bills. And I'm going to do a video at the end of the year stating I'm going to list all our unexpected bills that we had this year and how we handled them. So, but that'll come much later. One of the biggest stresses in retirement that most people don't like to talk about, and that's boredom. I can totally relate to this. After I did my last job and it was springtime, and I was bored. Our house is totally done. I mean, I rehabbed it about 3 years ago, uh, actually before I totally retired. And there's no projects to do. There's just no projects to do. And I like projects, but there's none to do here. I can't do them for anybody else either. But there's no projects to do. So I got bored. And what happens when you get bored? Guess what? You get depressed. And I was depressed. I'd go for a day or two and didn't want to hardly get out of bed. Now, I still did my daily stuff. I still went to the gym, and I still did this, and I still did that. And I do most of the laundry around here. I do all the dishes around here, just to give me something to do. My wife's got other activities she can do. And I mean, it takes no time for that stuff. And all I have to do is maintain. And I got depressed. I do coffee dates. What I try to do is when I'm feeling really down, I try to serve someone else. And that always makes me feel better. And to cure my boredom, I started this YouTube channel on a whim in July 4th, actually. My granddaughter helped me start it, and then did nothing for a couple weeks or a week or two. And then I posted a few videos, and I just made a video on that. I made one that kind of took off, and here I am. It totally shocked me. So now I have something to do every day. I don't get stressed out over boredom. Now, a lot of retirees have a loss of identity. If you worked a job for even if it's just a few years, but some 20 or 30 or 40, you lose your identity. Uh, I never had that. I'll be honest with you. I never had that. I was on a different job every day. I had different people in my crew every day. So I just never had that. Um, but it is a loss of identity if you've worked with the same people for years and years. And I understand that because most of the time, even after you retire, you kind of lose that friendship and the friendships change. Now, one of our biggest stresses, and I'm sure this affects all of us, is our decline in health. Mine was sudden when I turned, it was around 60. When I came down with rheumatoid arthritis, I made videos about that. I'm not going to talk about it, but I lost 3 years of my life. I lost 3 years of my life. And we went through savings, went through any investments we had. And thankfully, I sold what investments we had and paid off debt because I didn't know if I was going to live, let alone function. So here I am functioning, kind of, sort of, as you can see from the tree outside. We got about 4 inches of snow here in southwestern Ohio last night, and I'm debating whether it's enough for me to shovel or not. I'm healthy enough to do it. I just don't know if I want to do it. One nice thing about being retired. Most people's health, it gradually declines. It's going to happen to everybody. It may happen at 60, it may happen at 65, it may happen at 70. It's going to happen. And very few people, I hate to say it, I hate to be negative because I'm usually a very positive person. Very few people die peacefully in their sleep. I hope I'm one of them. You hope you're one of them, but generally it doesn't happen. But that's all. The decline in health. And along those same lines, the decline in physical activity. The things you used to be able to do, you just can't do anymore. You know, I looked out the window this morning, saw about 4 inches of snow, and thought, do I want to do it? Can I do it? More importantly, should I do it? Should I do it? Heart's good. In fact, I just saw my cardiologist yesterday. He said the same thing he said last time. Come see me in a year. You're doing great. Everything's good. So I think if I go out and just do it real slow, which is hard for me. It's really hard for me to just do anything halfway or real slow. But about everything I do anymore is slow. Our driveway, you can't tell. Yeah, you might be able to tell from the background. Slopes slightly upwards towards the street, and I have a cargo van. So if it snows 3 or 4 inches, guess what? Larry doesn't leave the house because I can't get out the driveway because it's very light and it's back wheel drive, and so I just don't leave the house. But I'll probably get out there and shovel to give me a little exercise. But we lose our physical activity. I limit what I do anymore. I still cut my front yard. My neighbor cuts my backyard. I just don't have it in me anymore. Some things I just had to give up. But I think one of the biggest concerns that we all have is, and I know this is mine, I don't want to be a burden to anybody. I've always, shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. I've always told my wife, Wendy, that, and we're going to be doing a video here very shortly. If I can talk her into it. I got a couple subjects I think she'd be really good at. She's willing. It's just a matter of finding the right time and her right mood and my right mood. But anyway, I don't want to be a burden to anybody. I've always told her, I said, you need to go first. I said, I am too big. For those that don't know, I'm 6'8", about 220, 6'7". I think I'm shrinking. 6'7", 220. I'm a big guy. You're not going to manhandle me much if I'm totally incapacitated. And she said, well, what'll happen if I die first and you get just, you can't get around? I said, I'll turn that on to my son. Or my sons will have to deal with that as long as you don't have to. But we don't want to be a burden. And I try to do everything I can within my power to not be a burden to her. And that's something we really can't control. We can control some of it to a point, but we really can't control. Anyway, that's about all I've got for now. These are some of the big stresses. Some I relate with. Most of them I relate with. Some of them I don't. But tell me how you're handling stress and what stresses you have in retirement. And that's about all I've got for now. Until we meet again, I'm going to continue to press on towards that goal.